Blitz has been out on Apple TV Plus for a couple of months. Latest movie from Steve McQueen, who previously made movies such as Shame, 12 Years a Slave, Widows, most of which I really enjoyed. This stars Saoirse Ronan, Harris Dickinson, Elliot Heffernan. According to McQueen, the original inspiration for the film came to him from seeing a photograph of a black child being rescued from a bomb shelter during the London Blitz. And then he researched the subject and decided to make a movie which follows fictional characters but does include events that really happened in that period. So the story starts in 1940 London during the Blitz, which of course was the period of Nazi Germany relentlessly bombing England. Saoirse Ronan plays Rita, a single mother of a young mixed-race boy, George. At the beginning of the film, she's forced to finally separate from him and then send him on an evacuation train to a safe place in the countryside, along with hundreds of other kids. George ends up escaping from the train and he sets out on a dangerous journey to get back to London. And meanwhile, in London itself, we follow Rita and see the various hardships that the people there have to endure. So, I'm very sad to say that this is not a good film. I think the setting is fantastic, and it's clear that McQueen did a lot of research to be very period accurate and show some real stories from that time. But unfortunately, the movie as a whole just doesn't sing. The main story is shallow, weak and boring and cliched as hell. The most interesting parts for me were the sort of Dickensian adventures of George, but even those end up being kind of predictable and saccharine and formulaic. And when we jump to the other storylines, there's really nothing to latch onto, nothing to get you engaged. It sometimes feels like a series of individual scenes and vignettes that could have worked individually, but when you try to stitch them together into a single narrative, it just does not work at all. I think Saoirse Ronan doesn't really have a lot to work with, as good as she is. I think Harris Dickinson is completely wasted in the film. You could remove his character and nothing changes. It's clearly set up for a romance between him and Rita, but it ends up going absolutely nowhere, and at some point he just disappears from the movie, never to be seen again, which honestly I thought was strange. The Stephen Graham gang is kind of a cartoonish sequence, and everything in general just feels rather flat and boring. And put it like this, it's not necessarily an all-around awful movie. There are individual things to enjoy here, like the cinematography or costumes or some of the individual scenes, but there was not a single thing that made me go, wow, that was great. And when you have a 2-hour movie that doesn't do that even once, well, I consider it to be a waste of time.